Most bikes start strong, then fall apart, but some are different, built with purpose, tested by time, and trusted by riders who don't baby their machines. These bikes don't care about miles or weather. They show up, start up, and get the job done. Here are the 20 most dependable motorcycles ever made. Starting with number 20, Honda CRF 300L. The Honda CRF 300L is the caveman stick of dual sport bikes. It is lightweight, dead simple, and tough as nails. Introduced in 2021 as the successor to the CRF 250L, it packs a 286cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine that's as reliable as gravity. With this bike, you can go anywhere, do anything, and as long as you don't neglect her, she will always allow you to come back for more. The engine delivers 27 horsepower and sips fuel at around 70 miles per gallon, giving it a range of about 140 miles on its 7.8-liter tank. It's not a highway cruiser, but it'll hold 65-70 miles per hour without complaint. The clutch is feather light, the gearbox is slick, and the fueling is mostly smooth, though some riders report a bit of low-speed snatchiness. The suspension is where Honda cut corners. The non-adjustable front fork and preload-only rear shock are soft and underdamped, especially for heavier riders or aggressive off-road use. If you're just exploring trails or commuting, it's fine, but if you plan to push it, budget for an upgrade. The build quality is solid, but not flawless. The frame paint is thin and prone to boot wear, and the side stand leans the bike over a bit too far. The suspension is quite soft and isn't adjustable, and the stock tires are mediocre at best. Adequate on pavement, sketchy off-road. Still, the CRF 300L is a reliable workhorse that's easy to maintain and cheap to run. It's not flashy, but it gets the job done without any drama. Let's move on to number 19, Suzuki DR 650. The Suzuki DR 650 is the mechanical embodiment of a mullet, business up front and party out back. It's been doing its thing since the mid-90s with minimal changes, and that thing is being a dead simple go-anywhere, fix-it-with-a-rock kind of bike. Its beating heart is a 644cc air/oil-cooled single-cylinder engine that's as basic as it gets. No fuel injection, no ride modes, no nonsense. It's carbureted, which some might scoff at, but that just means fewer electronics to fail when you're miles from civilization. However, it's not without quirks. The stock suspension is soft, the seat feels like a plank after a few hours, and the fuel tank is modest. But these are solvable issues, and the aftermarket scene is robust. Plus, the DR 650's simplicity makes it a favorite among DIY mechanics. This isn't the kind of bike that cares about trends or tech. It just wants to get you from point A to B, no matter how rough the path. And in most cases, it actually will. Just like our number 18, Yamaha XS 650. The Yamaha XS 650 is a mechanical time capsule, a 1970s parallel twin that's still kicking around in garages, sheds, and custom shops worldwide. Built from 1969 to 1985, it was Yamaha's answer to the British twins of the era, but with Japanese reliability and a knack for outlasting the apocalypse. It runs on a 654cc air-cooled SOC engine, famous for its simplicity and durability. The horizontally split crankcase and roller-bearing bottom end are overbuilt, and the engine's design was influenced by Yamaha's work on the Toyota 2000 GT, lending it a robust architecture. The engine's 360 degrees firing order gives it a distinctive thump, and while it may not be the smoothest, it's undeniably full of character. Reliability-wise, the XS 650 is solid, but not without quirks. Early models had issues with vibration and handling, but these were addressed in later versions with frame stiffening and other improvements. Electrical components, particularly the alternator brushes, can be a weak point, but replacements are readily available. Number 17, though, doesn't have as many flaws: Harley-Davidson Evo Sportster. The Harley-Davidson Evolution Sportster engine, often just called the Evo Sporty, is one of the most rock-solid power plants the motor company ever built. Introduced in 1986, the Evo engine replaced the notoriously finicky Ironhead and instantly raised Harley's reliability game. It came in two versions, 833cc and 1200cc, both air-cooled V-twins, and both damn near unkillable if you kept up with oil changes and didn't ride like a psychopath. What made it so reliable? Simplicity mostly. Push rods instead of overhead cams, air cooling instead of radiators and hoses. No nonsense, no fancy electronics, just solid engineering and brute force. The Evo Sportster motors had fewer oil leaks, ran cooler, and held their tune better than their predecessors. They were torquey, easy to wrench on, and parts were dirt cheap thanks to decades of consistency. It's not a high-tech machine. It didn't care about being flashy or fast, but the Evo Sportster is the cockroach of the motorcycle world. Tough to kill, easy to live with, and always ready to go another mile. It's been the first bike for thousands, the last bike for some, and a loyal daily ride for anyone who values dependability over bells and whistles. A true iron horse. The original line was discontinued in 2020 though, due to not meeting emission standards. It was replaced by the Sportster S model. The next one is the second of many Hondas on the list, Honda Goldwing. The Honda Goldwing is a rolling monument to bulletproof engineering. Launched in 1975, the Goldwing began as a naked 1000cc tourer and gradually evolved into a 1800cc luxury land yacht that could outlast marriages, mortgages, and most cars. By the time the GL 1800 hit the scene in 2001, Honda had already built a reputation for over-engineering the living hell out of it, and of course, riders loved them for it. The flat 6 engine is the star of the show, smooth as silk, low maintenance, and capable of racking up miles upon miles without flinching. Valve adjustments are rare, and failures are even rarer. There are no messy chains in the shaft drive, liquid cooling keeps temps down in Death Valley or the Alps, and the electronics are Honda-grade dependable, even on early models with carburetors and analog dash clocks. The engine isn't the only long-term component on this bike. The Goldwing's frame, suspension, brakes, and drivetrain were all built for the long haul. This is a bike you could cross continents on day after day and still feel fresh when you park it. Mechanics joke that Goldwings don't die, they retire instead. And when they do, it's usually because the rider ran out of steam before the bike did. It's a touring legend for a damn good reason. Another Japanese monster that doesn't let up is number 15, Suzuki SV650. The Suzuki SV650 is the Swiss Army knife of motorcycles. Simple, dependable, and brutally effective. Since its debut in 1999, the SV650 has earned a cult following among beginners, commuters, racers, and track day junkies alike. Why? Because it nails the one thing that truly matters, reliability without sacrificing fun. At the heart of the SV is a 645cc liquid-cooled V-twin that just won't quit. It's fuel-injected, has a smooth torque curve, and shrugs off abuse easily. And it's built smart. The frame is lightweight and rigid, the suspension is straightforward, and there's no overcomplication under the tank. No strange quirks, no exotic parts. Just old-school Japanese engineering done right. Even after 2 decades and multiple revisions, from the SV650 to the Gladius and back to the SV650, Suzuki didn't fix what wasn't broken. The SV650 is proof that you don't need 200 horsepower and active suspension to have a great bike. You just need reliability, predictability, and enough grunt to make you grin. Whether you're a first-timer or a lifer, the SV650 is the kind of bike that just works. Every time. Next on the list is number 14, the Triumph Bonneville T120. If you want vintage looks with modern bulletproof engineering without sacrificing an ounce of reliability, the Triumph Bonneville T120 is the bike for you. Revived in 2016 as part of Triumph's reborn modern classic line, the T120 packs a 1200cc parallel twin engine that's liquid-cooled, fuel-injected, and rock-solid in everyday use. Let's be clear, this isn't the leaky, cantankerous Brit iron of the 1960s. This is a thoroughly modern machine dressed in vintage leather. The engine's a low-revving torque monster with impeccable manners. No weird surges, no electrical gremlins. Triumph nailed the balance between classic aesthetics and practical performance. Ride it hard, cruise it lazy, or leave it in the garage for a week, then thumb the starter and it's still ready to go. Its build quality is tight. Paint, welds, hardware, and everything feels dialed in, not slapped on. ABS and traction control come standard, but the bike doesn't lean on gimmicks. What you get is consistency, refinement, and the kind of engineering that inspires long-term ownership. Is it the fastest? No, but it might be the most reliable retro-style bike on the market today. The T120 is for riders who want the charm of the past without inheriting its problems. Classic soul, modern guts, and it just keeps ticking. Speaking of bulletproof engineering, number 13, BMW R1200 GS. The BMW R1200 GS is the poster child for long-distance adventure reliability. Introduced in 2004 as the successor to the R1150 GS, the The R1200 GS took everything that made its predecessor great, the shaft drive, boxer engine, rugged build, and made it lighter, faster, and even more dependable. At its heart is an 1170cc air and liquid-cooled boxer twin that's famously tough. This engine isn't just durable, it's engineered to be flogged across deserts, mountains, and war-torn back roads without flinching. Final drive issues were ironed out early in the model's life, and from 2008 onward, the GS became an anvil in adventure gear. The telelever front suspension virtually eliminates dive under braking, and the shaft drive is low maintenance and built to last. The electronics are surprisingly robust for a bike packed with ABS, traction control, ride modes, and later dynamic ESA suspension. The 1200 GS survives neglect and also thrives with regular maintenance. It's not cheap, but you get what you pay for, a globe-trotting beast that will outlive your wanderlust and probably your knees. For serious riders who want one bike to do it all, this is it. Trust. Another Honda on the list is number 12, Honda CB750. The Honda CB750 defines reliability for modern motorcycles. When it dropped in 1969, the CB750 proved that it was a technological sledgehammer that came to shatter the old-school notion that fast meant fragile, and it came with an inline-4 engine, electric start, front disc brake, and of course, oil-tight performance. This was Honda telling the world, we can build bikes better than anyone, and we can make them last. That 736cc SOHC four-cylinder engine was overbuilt to a fault. It didn't leak, didn't overheat, and didn't care if you thrashed it or babied it. You could commute all week, race on the weekend, and still ride it across the country without packing tools. From first-time buyers to seasoned wrenchers, the CB750's reputation for simple maintenance and steely durability makes it an easy choice. And it aged incredibly well. Even more than 50 years later, CB750s are still on the road, often with nothing more than routine care. Parts are everywhere. Knowledge is widespread. The engine will also keep humming with nothing more than clean oil and a synced set of carbs. The CB750 was actually featured in the Discovery Channel's Greatest Motorbikes Ever list and has earned awards, as well as been incorporated into halls of fame. It's a legend because it works. This list wouldn't be complete without a Ducati. And the most reliable of the bunch is the Ducati Monster. The Ducati Monster may be known for style, torque, and Italian attitude, but when it comes to reliability, it's had a bit of a redemption arc. Early monsters from the 1990s, especially the air-cooled M900, had quirks, flaky electrics, timing belts that needed babysitting, and dry clutches that sounded like a toolbox falling downstairs. But Ducati learned fast, and by the mid-2000s, the Monster line had matured into a surprisingly dependable machine. Modern monsters, especially the fuel-injected, liquid-cooled variants from the 696, 796, 821, and up to the 1200, are light years ahead. Desmodromic valves still require periodic adjustment, but intervals were stretched and reliability shot up. The electronics became more stable, fueling got smoother, and the engines became grunty, responsive, and hard to kill if maintained properly. That said, this isn't a set-it-and-forget-it Honda. The Monster demands a bit of respect. Follow the service intervals, treat it like a thoroughbred, and it'll reward you with years of visceral performance and daily usability. Do not ignore the maintenance, though, because you'll pay the price. It's the most reliable Ducati platform ever made, and arguably the most user-friendly. For an Italian bike that looks like sex on wheels and still fires up every morning, the Monster walks the fine line between character and chaos with surprising composure. Going back to the Japanese in a bit. Number 10, Yamaha Bolt. The Yamaha Bolt is Japan's answer to the Harley Sportster, but with fewer oil stains and way more peace of mind. First released in 2014, the Bolt, also known as the 15th 950 in some markets, quickly earned a reputation for being a no-fuss, rock-solid cruiser that nails the basics: a punchy engine, a clean look, and dead simple reliability. Powered by a 942cc air-cooled V-twin, the Bolt isn't trying to set speed records, but it's trying to outlast every other bike in your garage. The engine is under-stressed, fuel-injected, and nearly impossible to kill if you keep the oil fresh. There's no complex electronic suite, no finicky sensors, and no weird mechanical design choices. It's just old-school cruiser vibes backed by Yamaha's obsessive attention to build quality. Maintenance for this beautiful creature is cheap and easy. The belt drive requires minimal upkeep. The frame is rigid and built to take abuse. The aftermarket support is huge. Riders mod it, race it, daily it, or road trip it across states. And of course, it just keeps chugging along. It's not flashy and it's not fast, but if you want a bike that starts every time, never complains, and doesn't cut a hole in your pockets, the Yamaha Bolt is a workhorse in a leather jacket. Quietly brilliant and relentlessly dependable. Just like our number 9, Kawasaki KLR 650. The Kawasaki KLR 650 is the actual cockroach of the motorcycle world, and that's high praise. First released in 1987, this thumper became the go-to bike for riders who value durability over dazzle. Need to cross a desert, commute daily, or ride to the end of the earth on a shoestring budget? The KLR 650 is the bike that tells you, sure, no problem, mate. It runs a 651cc single-cylinder engine that sounds like a cement mixer and vibrates like a washing machine, but it'll go 100,000 miles with just oil changes and valve checks. The engine is air and liquid cooled, simple, and built with a focus on longevity over horsepower. No ride-by-wire, no traction control, no fragile high-tech nonsense. Just an old-school tank with turn signals. The suspension is basic, the brakes are serviceable, the reliability, however, is legendary. It's been used by militaries, adventurers, and broke students alike. You can drop it, drown it, stall it, or strap half your life to it, and it would just keep going. Thanks to decades of popularity, you can also get parts cheap and everywhere. The 2022 update added fuel injection, but didn't mess with the core DNA. The KLR isn't sexy, it's not fast, but when the apocalypse hits and you need one bike to ride through hell, this is the cockroach to bet on. You can also bet on number 8, Suzuki V-Strom 650. The Suzuki V-Strom 650, affectionately known to its riders as the Wii-Strom, is a masterclass in reliability. Since it came out in 2004, riders who had been looking for a dependable and versatile machine had finally found their soulmate, a lover who wouldn't break their bank or their backs. This particular soulmate is powered by a 645cc V-twin engine, a stalwart power plant borrowed from the SV650. It is known throughout the world for its durability, and any riders that have would report high mileage with minimal issues. With some maintenance, a few oil changes here, a valve check there, and this soulmate is ready to stick with you till death or old age separates you. The design is a love letter to practicality. It has comfortable ergonomics, ample fuel capacity, and the semi-effective wind protection is okay and can be bolstered with some aftermarket products. This makes it a favorite for long-distance touring and daily commuting alike. It doesn't have electronics, but the simplicity has a certain charm to it. You do not have to worry about extra points of failure, and the ease of maintenance is top-notch. Basically, it is a workhorse, unpretentious, reliable, and ready for whatever journey you have in mind. It's not about flash and dash, it's about getting you there and back, without a hitch. Note the number of Japanese products on this list. The next one is a Japanese vehicle, Yamaha V-Star 250. The Yamaha V-Star 250 is the mechanical equivalent of a loyal farm dog. It is uncomplicated, low maintenance, and always ready to get to work. It won't win you any points at a bike night, but it will start every damn time, sip gas like it's rationed, and carry you wherever you need to go with zero drama. Powered by a 249cc air-cooled V-twin, the V-Star 250 is one of the few small displacement cruisers that actually feels like a cruiser. That engine might not pull your arms off, but it hums along with surprising smoothness and a level of mechanical simplicity that borders on brilliant. It's carbureted and has a chain drive, but these are features, not flaws. They make maintenance stupidly easy and repairs even cheaper. It's built like a teaching tool, forgiving clutch, light frame, neutral handling. New riders love it because it doesn't punish mistakes. Veterans respect it because it just won't die. This is a machine that asks for little and gives back miles of trouble-free riding. No sensors to glitch, no plastic fairings to crack, no pretenses. Just a pure, humble workhorse in chrome and steel. If you need a reliable small bike, this one's your solid, unpretentious sidekick. Taking a break from the Japanese, the Germans have the next one, BMW R9T. The BMW R9T is a time-traveling brute wrapped in brushed aluminum and boxer growl. Launched in 2014, this modern classic fuses vintage cafe racer vibes with the cold precision of German engineering. An 1170cc air/oil-cooled boxer twin pumps out 108 brake horsepower and 86 pound-foot of torque. And while that's not outrageous power by any sense, but it's the kind that hits with a steady, satisfying thump. Reliable, durable, the kind of engine that's more companion than machine. BMW didn't build the R9T to be just another showroom piece. They built it to be yours. The modular frame allows you to go wild. It's a blank canvas with a premium paint job. The ride quality has some drawbacks. The suspension walks a fine line, firm enough for a corner carving, but after a few hours on back roads, your spine might stage a protest. Still, its handling is sharp, grounded, and reassuring, whether you're darting through city traffic or chasing the horizon on a Sunday. It is solid as long as you don't treat it like a neglected Tinder match. Stick to the service intervals, especially those valve checks and oil changes, and she'll purr for years. But don't expect budget upkeep. BMW parts bite, and dealership visits aren't cheap. That said, the build quality is exceptional. Bottom line, the R9T isn't for spec sheet chasers. It's for riders who want soul with their steel character with competence. A bike that nods to the past while barreling confidently into the future. Going back to the Japanese, we have the Honda CBR 600F4i at number 5. The Honda CBR 600F4i is the kind of bike that was built to show off. It comes up, then takes you to work the next morning without a single complaint. Released in 2001, it carved out a niche as one of the most dependable sport bikes. Under its fairings hums a 599cc liquid-cooled inline-4, a high-revving masterpiece that redlines at 13,500 revs per minute and sings all the way up. With around 109 horsepower at 12,500 revs per minute and 65 newton meters of torque at 10,500, the F4i doesn't overwhelm, it invites. Twist the throttle and it'll scream. Cruise in traffic and it'll whisper. The twin-spar aluminum frame keeps things tight and tidy, light enough to flick through corners, stiff enough to hold a line like it's planted in the asphalt. The 43mm fully adjustable forks and ProLink rear shock aren't race spec fancy, but they are more than capable of turning bumpy streets into smooth ballet. It is agile, it is predictable, it is forgiving, unless you ask it to be otherwise. Reliability is where this thing shines like polished titanium. The ergonomics are surprisingly humane, sporty enough to remind you it's a super sport, relaxed enough that your wrists won't file for divorce. This bike is a perfect storm of speed, civility, and sheer Honda stubbornness. It doesn't chase trends, it just works, day in, day out, and it looks damn good doing it. Anyone who's known anything about bikes should know about the Honda Super Cub. The Honda Super Cub is more of a cultural artifact than a motorcycle. Since it rolled out in 1958, it's racked up over 100 million units sold, making it the most produced motor vehicle in human history. This is world domination on two wheels, and it couldn't have gotten her without one word: simplicity. The step-through frame is as easy as stepping into a pair of shoes. The semi-automatic transmission is a godsend for new riders terrified of stalling in traffic. Add in a near-bulletproof 49cc four-stroke engine, and you've got a recipe for mechanical immortality. And then there's what it did. In Vietnam, the Super Cub went beyond moving people. From point A to point B, it became infrastructure. It's been used to carry crates, goats, entire families, and occasionally national economies. Rain or sun, paved or pothole-riddled, it just keeps going. If it breaks down, kick it, change the oil, ride on, and move on. Modern variants like the C125 brought in the bling, fuel injection, LED lights, and even a smart key system. It's fancy, sure, but not flawless. That smart key systems in the earlier models have had issues, and some riders say the added tech strays too close to fragile, but for most, it's a fair trade for smoother starts and cleaner emissions. Still, the heart of the Super Cub hasn't changed. It's the bike that asks for little and gives everything. It's the postal worker's steed, the student's lifeline, the back alley mechanic's favorite child. Reliable, simple, immortal. The Super Cub is an old dog on wheels, and it's probably outlived more dictators than you can name. Another Honda that comes at the top is the Honda Rebel 500. The Honda Rebel 500 is the two-wheeled equivalent of that one friend who never flakes, always shows up, and doesn't need a lot of attention to keep going. Since its 2017 debut, the Rebel has carved out a loyal following. New riders love its ease, veterans respect its consistency, and commuters praise its attitude. Under the tank hums a 471cc liquid-cooled parallel twin, lifted from Honda's CB 500 series. Smooth, predictable torque, delivered clean through the rev range. It won't rip your arms off, but twist the throttle, and it responds like it actually likes you. The assistant slipper clutch, added in 2020, makes downshift smoother than your last apology text and keeps city riding chill. The rear suspension can be a bit unforgiving on trash roads, and a few unlucky owners have run into electrical quirks, buzzing at certain RPMs, occasional flickering, nothing major, but annoying enough to mention. Visually, the Rebel leans into that blacked-out bobber aesthetic, minimalist, modern, and mean. But be warned, the matte black exhaust tends to discolor faster than you'd expect, especially if left out in the sun like a dog on a dashboard. The Rebel 500 isn't trying to be a Harley. It's not a race bike. It's a straightforward, solid machine that shows up every day, asks very little, and delivers just enough soul to make you grin without trying too hard. In a world of overly complicated bikes, the Rebel keeps it simple, stylish, and stupidly reliable. At number 2, we have the Royal Enfield Bullet 350. The Royal Enfield Bullet 350 is a vinyl record, warm, raw, and defiantly analog in a world full of sterile digital sound. It doesn't care about speed or tech specs. It's not here to impress your riding group. It's here to remind you what motorcycling used to feel like: gritty, mechanical, and deeply human. At the heart of it is a 349cc air-cooled single-cylinder thumper, pushing out a humble 20 brake horsepower. It won't launch off the line or set your pants on fire, but twist the throttle and it answers with a smooth, rhythmic pulse that makes you feel the ride. It's not fast, it's intentional. Built for cruising, not chasing. The maintenance is minimal and garage-friendly. No laptop needed. If you've got a wrench and a lazy Saturday, this bike's your kind of therapy. But don't let the simplicity fool you. This engine is built to last, assuming you treat it like a relationship and not a rental. The Bullet 350 isn't for everyone, and thank God for that. It's for riders who want a machine with flaws, quirks, and heart. A bike that takes you back as well as wherever you want to go to. And finally, the top dog, the Kawasaki Ninja 650. Since 2006, the Kawasaki Ninja 650 has been carving its own lane in the middleweight category, offering real-world performance without demanding race spec sacrifices. It's not about peacocking at the track. It's about getting to work, blowing off steam, and enjoying every mile in between. A 649cc parallel twin engine powers the thing, pushing out a respectable 68 horsepower. On paper, that might not wow, but in practice, it's buttery smooth, surprisingly torquey, and satisfyingly linear from low revs to redline. Whether you're lane splitting through traffic or gunning it down a twisty back road, this engine feels like it was tuned for real riders, not just spec sheets. The trellis frame keeps things light and flickable, and the upright riding position hits that sweet spot between sport and comfort. You could ride this thing to work, hit the canyons on the weekend, and still feel good enough to grab dinner after. It's that usable. Post-2020 models also have TFT dash, LED lighting, and a cleaner, sharper front end that makes it look way more aggressive than it behaves. Aside from routine chain cleaning and regular service, the Ninja 650 rarely asks for more. It's low drama, low cost, and high return. Exactly what you want from a daily sport bike. What other bike do you think meets the reliability scale? Please comment and remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel.